Welcome back, everyone. In this video, we will discuss in details about Meitei terrorist groups, ambush history, or the ambush file. Let's begin. The insurgent groups in Manipur, primarily composed of Meitei militants, have been responsible for a series of violent attacks against Indian security forces and civilians, contributing to the ongoing conflict in the region. These groups, including KYKL, Kanglei Yawol Kanalup, KCP, Kanglei Pak Communist Party, PLA, People's Liberation Army, and UNLF, United National Liberation Front, have carried out coordinated attacks on Indian military personnel, government officials, and civilians. Their actions, driven by demands for autonomy or independence from India, have resulted in significant casualties and widespread instability in Manipur. The following incidents, referred to as the ambush files, highlight some of the most notorious and deadly attacks carried out by these Meitei insurgent groups against Indian forces, illustrating the scale and brutality of their operations. Durichang. First, 4th June 2015. Ambush on 6th Dogra Regiment, KYKL. On June 4th, 2015, a convoy of the 6th Dogra Regiment was ambushed by the KYKL, a Meitei insurgent group formed in 1994. This attack, which took place in the Shandell district of Manipur, resulted in the deaths of 18 soldiers. The KYKL, which is banned by the National Investigation Agency, NIA, as a terrorist organization, carried out this ambush with precision and effectiveness, showcasing the group's capacity for high-level coordination and military strategy. The attack targeted a military convoy traveling through a known insurgency-prone area, and the militants employed guerrilla warfare tactics to maximize damage, leaving the soldiers no chance to respond effectively. The Burshashursi Warnj, 2nd, 13th of November, 2021. Ambush on Colonel Viplav Tripathi and family, PLA. On November 13th, 2021, a deadly ambush took place near the Sekin village, located near Behyang Lamka, in the Churachandpur district of Manipur. The attack was carried out by the Meitei militant group, PLA, People's Liberation Army. Kalam Viplav Tripathi, the commanding officer of the 46 Assam Rifles AR, along with his wife and son, and 4 Jawans, was killed during the attack. The militants targeted Colonel Tripathi's convoy with an IED blast, followed by a volley of gunfire. The ambush not only killed the officer and his family, but also claimed the lives of several security personnel, sending shockwaves throughout the region. This incident marked a significant escalation in the insurgency in Manipur, highlighting the growing audacity of the militants. Third, 5th June 2015. Ambush on 6th Dogra Regiment at Paralon, KCP and KYKL. On June 5th, 2015, just one day after the attack on the 6th Dogra Regiment, another ambush was carried out by a combination of Meitei militant groups, including the KCP, Kanglei Pak Communist Party, and KYKL. This ambush, which occurred near Paralon in the Shandell district, led to the martyrdom of 18 soldiers. The KCP and KYKL are both notorious for their violent tactics, and the coordinated assault against the Dogra Regiment was a testament to their operational planning. The militants used improvised explosive devices, IEDs, and heavy gunfire, resulting in the tragic loss of life and further escalating the violence in the region. Wranar Chakur's 4th January 2006, Lieutenant Column Rajiv Bakshi martyred, UNLF. On January 20th, 2006, Lieutenant Column Rajiv Bakshi, a senior officer in the Dogra Regiment, was martyred by Meitei militants associated with the UNLF, United National Liberation Front. The attack took place in Parbung village, located in the Lamka district of Manipur, formerly known as Churachandpur. The UNLF, one of the oldest and most well-established insurgent groups in the region, ambushed Lieutenant Kalam Bakshi and his team, opening fire with automatic weapons. The militants had been waiting in ambush, and despite the presence of security personnel, the coordinated attack led to the death of the officer and several others. This attack further demonstrated the group's willingness to target high-ranking military officers in an effort to disrupt Indian security operations. February 31st December 2005, ambush on Sri T. Thangthuam, IPS, PLA. On December 31st, 2005, Sri T. Thangthuam, an IPS officer and the Inspector General of Police, intel from the Kukizo community, was ambushed by the PLA while returning to Imphal from his hometown in Lamka, Manipur. The attack occurred at Onam Bazaar along the Tedim Road in Bishnupur district. The militants from the PLA launched the ambush, opening fire on the officer's convoy, and despite the officer's attempt to evade the attack, he was killed in the crossfire. This incident highlighted the growing influence of Meitei insurgent groups in targeting not just military personnel, but also key law enforcement officials, underlining the threat posed by these groups to the functioning of the state apparatus. 8th January 2003, martyrdom of Shri Vivek Saxena, Assistant Commandant, MPLF. On January 8, 2003, Shri Vivek Saxena, an Assistant Commandant of the 2nd Battalion BSF, was martyred during a firefight with Meitei militants of the MPLF, Manipur People's Liberation Front, in the Sajik Tampa region of Chandel district, Manipur. The MPLF had carried out a series of attacks against Indian security forces in the region, and on this occasion, they ambushed Saxena's convoy. The attack resulted in a brutal exchange of fire, and despite the valiant efforts of the security forces, Saxena was killed in the clash. His death was a major blow to the BSF's presence in the region and signified the deadly effectiveness of Meitei insurgent groups like the MPLF. 7. 8th of April, 1989, killing of Miss Vandana Malik, IPS officer, PLA. On April 8, 1989, Miss Vandana Malik, an IPS officer, was tragically killed by the PLA in a targeted attack at Kontujam, Lamkai in Imphal West District of Manipur. Malik, who was an officer of high repute, was the target of the PLA in an effort to disrupt the functioning of the Indian administration in the region. The assassination was part of a broader pattern of targeted killings carried out by Meitei militant groups, especially against law enforcement and military officers who were perceived as enemies of their cause. Malik's death was a significant moment in the ongoing insurgency, as it highlighted the ruthlessness of the insurgent groups in targeting individuals associated with the Indian government. Nashri, the tactics and goals of Meitei militants. The attacks carried out by Meitei insurgent groups in these incidents highlight their tactical expertise and their commitment to their political goals. These groups typically rely on guerrilla warfare, using hit-and-run tactics, ambushes, and IEDs to destabilize the region and to strike fear into the Indian military and government. The use of improvised explosive devices, IEDs, is a frequent method of attack, allowing insurgents to target military convoys, police stations, and even civilian infrastructure with relative impunity. The Parsharai targeting of high-ranking officers. Within the Indian Army and the police is another key aspect of their strategy. By eliminating military commanders and police officials, these insurgent groups seek to disrupt command structures and create a leadership vacuum, which makes it more difficult for Indian security forces to carry out effective operations. The Mashkar assassination of civilians perceived to be associated with the Indian government is also a common tactic, further sowing fear and division within the local population. Conclusion. The activities of the Meitei insurgent groups in Manipur, as illustrated by the ambush files, represent a persistent and evolving threat to both Indian security forces and civilians in the region. These groups, including KYKL, KCP, PLA, and UNLF, have demonstrated their ability to carry out highly coordinated attacks, inflicting significant casualties on Indian forces and undermining the stability of Manipur. Their use of guerrilla tactics, including ambushes, bombings, and targeted killings, has led to a prolonged conflict with no clear resolution in sight. While the Indian government continues to deploy security forces and engage in peace talks, the insurgent groups remain a potent force, and the violence in Manipur persists. These groups' demand for greater autonomy or independence continues to fuel the ongoing insurgency, and their attacks on both security personnel and civilians underscore the high stakes of the conflict in the region. Thank you for watching. Please share this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe Zelengam Media.